Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and I'm podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful night out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle, so check me out there. And also, we got that text line right below. Check us out as well. So, hey, USC 48-41, not a lot of fun for USC fans, if you will. I'm going to kind of go over some of the things real quick about this game. And let's be real. One of the biggest reasons why USC fans are kind of mad is because they weren't able to flex on Colorado. They weren't able to be like, put their, get their arms ready and flex on Colorado. They weren't able to do all that. Like they couldn't go to Twitter. They couldn't go to social media and make memes and make comments about the Buffaloes that they really wanted to make. And the reason why they weren't able to do that is because the defense let up, the whole team let up, and they let this Buffalo team, the Colorado Buffalo team, back in the game. Coach Prime has coached 5 games, been an underdog in I think in all 5 games. He's 3-2. They kind of took a victory lap, which I thought was weird. Like to me, he's Coach Prime. Like, I don't want to hear about like, come get me now, whatever. It's like, dude, my guy, like you lost. Like take the L. But they took a victory lap around it because it was against USC. And it was, I get it. Like we want to be the same. We want to have the same conversations about our team as everybody else had about Oregon after the Oregon game. So I get it. I totally get it. I understand. It was frustrating to watch it when they score that touchdown to go up, I believe 48 to 21. You're feeling really good. And you should feel really good. I mean, it's a game that they should have won handily. But I think that the issue really is I don't understand the defensive philosophy of when you have a lead that much. Because to me, what I'm going to do in that situation, and I kind of talked about it with a lot of people, is I'm going to go out there and I'm going to play 2 high safety. I'm going to rush 4. Consequently, the USC Trojans have one of the best sack rates or pressure rates when they just rush 4. Romello Height is eaten. So is Bear Alexander. So is Solomon Byrd. I mean, this defensive line is really the rotation. I mean, Benton got involved with some sacks as well. So that opportunity was there. So why not just take advantage of it and do something great with it? Because it just didn't make any sense to me to sit there and allow them. I don't know what defense they were playing. I haven't seen all 22 yet. But at the end of the day, that's what you play. You just do all those things. I think that was probably one of the most egregious things in this ball game. Is that you have a huge lead and you're like kind of clueless on how to preserve it. I don't think Lincoln Riley helped in this sense because he has so many plays up his sleeves. He has so many things he can do. Like he just, I mean, I get it. They score 48 points in this game, and once you get to 48 points, it's really not about your offense anymore. It should be about your defense and everything else. But how many games are we gonna watch where Marshawn Lloyd has almost 100 yards and like 13 carries? Like how many games are we gonna watch? There's some transfers who have disappointed. Um, the defensive lineman from Purdue It has been a little bit disappointing, stuff like that. But for the most part, some of the guys have most of the guys have been pretty true to form. Bear Alexander, Marshawn Lloyd. We're still waiting for that Dorian Singer game yet. We haven't seen that Dorian Singer game yet. Maybe it'll come this week against Arizona, his old team. But at the end of the day, like, you know, it's just not, you know, you got to run the football and you got to put the ball in his hands. Like you just have to do it. Like it just seems like it's like an easy fix for them to be able to do that to lessen the pressure that this defense. They're going to give you a big spurt in the game. I don't know if they can play 4 quarters. And that's a real observation. We have to see. I think they're capable of it physically. I don't think they're capable of it under this defensive coordinator who, listen, I mean, it is what it is. As far as this whole trained eye thing, like somewhere in this world, like we in the coaching world, they really like if you're somebody's boy, like you 100%, that's your boy, that's your dog, that's your man. They will protect you throughout the entire year. They will never disrespect you. They'll never do any of those things, even when you're doing a really bad job. And this whole comment, I think it's a dangerous comment um by Lincoln Riley. And it's not because of like the end of the world, what I mean, like that kind of danger. But you can't make a comment when you make a comment like trained eye, like it's a lot of it's whether you believe it or not, as a head coach, you're calling people stupid. Like it is. Like you're telling the media, you're telling people who watch football for years, you're telling people who have, who watch film for years, for people who do a lot of different things with football, that you're not smart enough to see what we see. And that's not right. Like you can like it was a disappointing game. Like, we missed some tackles, say all those things. We could have done better in so many different areas. You can just say different areas. You don't have to even specifically say defense. You could take some ownership of yourself and say, hey, you know what, maybe we could have ran the ball. It's kind of the second week in a row where they could have just ran the ball. Like Lloyd is cooking. This kid is just you get the balance, everything. Like, he's a really good running back. You can get him the ball. He catches the ball out of the backfield too, so you can get him on screens. You can get him on, the GT counter stuff. You can do all the kind of things you want to do with him. I mean, the touchdown run was where he reversed field was fantastic. Like those kind of things are really cool. But this whole trained eye thing, man, that's just like you can't like I know it's your boy. I know it's your boy, and coaches don't throw other coaches under the bus, but you can't sit there and just use those you use that terminology and think it's not going to be a little bit of a backlash from it because we know what good football looks like and we know what good defensive football looks like. And at the 3 minute mark, 3 minutes left in the third quarter, Caleb Williams I believe we threw a touchdown pass to Jude Wolf to make it 48-21. Like you should have been able to walk out of that game unscathed without this explosion later in that game. That was just absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. Trained eye. Trained eye. We don't have the trained eye to see what we would do up, 48-21. Like, cousin, come on. That's a little much. Um, when you're the national, when you're doing like stuff like you're Pat Summerall, John Madden, when you're Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, and and they kind of mix up the groups now. But like when you're the national, Jim Nance and Tony Romo, when you're the highest group, right? That you're the highest group of broadcasting on your network, you have a responsibility, right? You have a responsibility to actually do your job. And the fact that in this game, a guy who is a big voice touchdown guy and Gus Johnson, every time Colorado scored or made a big play, it was euphoria. It was bombs going off. It was fireworks. It was, oh my God. And then when the Trojans score, he was whispering. Marshawn Lloyd went this way, came all the way back that way on a great change reverse field touchdown, and we're gonna whisper, "Hey, touchdown Trojans!" Like you have to do better than that. You have to do better than that. And I understand alma maters are involved. I understand that there's some factors. There's a new excitement. You want to you get caught up in it, all those things like that. But at the end of the day, like this is you got to be a little bit. Your job is to be in the middle, and this isn't like, oh my God, cheer for my team. I don't care if Gus Johnson does another game for USC. It doesn't bother me, and no end. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, like him of all people, kind of like touchdown Trojans, and then have a euphoric explosion whenever there was a first down by the Buffaloes. Same thing with Joe Klatt. I mean, it's just a little much. It's a little much. I good for listen. I'm not one of these USC fans who hates Dion. Like I think it's good for college football. I think it's makes me feel a little old that he's coaching now. But at the end of the day, the guy's done a good job there. Everybody said when he got to this level that he would be terrible and this team would be terrible, and they haven't been. They haven't been terrible. They've been in pretty much every game except for the Oregon game. So, and even our game, they were. I mean, I guess they were kind of in it, but I mean, when you go 48-21, that's just kind of just they made it close, but I never thought they were going to win the game. So it is what it is. Maybe some folks did. So it is what it is. On the linebacker issue, the issue isn't the problem with Alex Grinch last year to this year is last year I didn't give him a lot of grief to be honest with you because they really truly didn't have the players. They didn't have pro prospects on that defense besides a guy like Makai Becton or Tuli who's doing a great job with the Chargers right now. But the tackling thing is just not going to go away until they actually tackle. Like like until they actually tackle consistently, it's never going to go away. And I think an acceptable missed tackle number is probably like 4 or 5 a game. Once you get past 4 or 5 a game, it's a internal issue with what you're doing defensively. And again, like I said about Josh McDaniels on the Raiders show on this channel, he gets paid those big bucks to fix everything in real time. All events happen in real time. Like this is real time. Like you can't just. I don't want to hear. I'm looking at the film. I don't care about going to practice. Like the effort is there. I mean, they're I don't sit there and doubt that USC's players are out there putting out a great effort. They are. I mean, the effort is there, but they have to finish these plays. And if we're coaching for big plays, big plays, big plays, big plays defensively, and not just those are nice. I liked Christian Rowan Wallace's interception. They almost had another one as well in that game. But you have to be able to be fundamental as well. You have to have fundamentals as well. You got to be able to be a team that can wrap up, tackle. This was the second game in a row where I just feel like they don't use the sideline enough. Like a lot of these plays are the big play to Scatterboo from Arizona State, Miller from Colorado. Like push the guy. I mean, like use the out of bounds as an extra as that 12th defender. They just don't do a good job of that either. So like that, it's a lot of different issues as far as that goes. I don't. Everybody wants to stomp on the throat, and whenever USC farts, like everybody wants to chime in and tell everybody what they can't do. They're an easy target. People, Alex Grinch has been up and down. They don't like Lincoln Riley for whatever reason. They don't like Lincoln Riley. But nationally, the national media don't like because they don't like Lincoln Riley because they can just go after him and they hate USC and people usually the media is part of the West, part of the East Coast, and the East Coast hates the West Coast. I mean they don't if they're sitting there drinking the pumpkin spice you know, latte from Dunkin' Donuts and it's freezing cold and we're still at the beach, they get mad at that. So, brothers hate us because brothers hate us here on the West Coast. So I understand that part. But to turn that around, I mean, we have to be one of these offenses and one of these teams that it just makes more sense to okay, they scored a quick touchdown. Bad defense by USC. It's 48-28. Marshawn's kind of like eating. We got running backs who are averaging him and Austin are averaging 8, 10, almost 10 yards a carry. Give him the rock a little bit, cousin. I know we want to do the Heisman thing. It would be amazing if he could win 2 Heismans, but I'm sure. And if you heard his Heisman speech, Caleb Williams, who also played fantastic in this game. I didn't mention his name yet, but it's almost like a foregone conclusion that he's going to have 6 touchdowns in the game. He would give up that Heisman Trophy, that second Heisman Trophy, for a national championship any day of the week. Like he would give it wouldn't even be a conversation. It'd be like, please, somebody else can have that Heisman. Give that to anybody. I don't care. Give it to Michael Penix. Give it to Bo Nix. Give it to whoever you want. Give it to Drake May. I don't care. Give me the national championship. I mean, that's the goal of this whole thing. So whether or not they waste a year, all that stuff like that, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So the first part of this is for USC. This is 2 seasons. This first season is going to end on Saturday against Arizona. Then the real season, the more impactful season, the season that's going to decide whether or not they're going to some stupid bowl or they're going to the Final Four, starts in Notre Dame. So how do you stay focused on Arizona, who is a very good defensive team and improved dramatically and did a good job on Michael Penix last week? How do you get this team to not skip this game and go all the way to Arizona? I mean, all the way to South Bend. It's vital, and we'll preview the Arizona game this week. It is imperative that they take care of business with Arizona quickly, because the last thing you want, and they have not been. Besides, they're down on offensive linemen. Besides that, they have not faced, big time injuries in this season. And the last thing you want to do is before you get to this second season where you play Notre Dame and then you play Utah, where you're going to need physicality, where you're going to need all your pieces. The last thing you want is an injury in an Arizona game that you should be able to take care of. As good as they have improved, they have some really good wide receivers. They do have a really good defensive unit. They got some guys who might be playing on Sundays. They've done a good job defensively this year. You gotta take care of that game early. Take care of that game by halftime, so you can sit your stars and get things popping. And get ready for Notre Dame. All right, Trojan fans. Student Body Right USC podcast. Thank you for the support. Continue that support. Text line, comments, and put your comments in the thing and on YouTube. And let's stop playing games. We get that. We get the numbers. 70% of y'all have not subscribed. Y'all watching the show. You haven't subscribed. So please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. All right, later, y'all. Fight on.